Good day and welcome back to this Focus On segment where we explore how corporates are aligning their strategies with the B20 goals. I'm Zanella Morrison. Now, in the previous two episodes, we took a look at the broader B20 goals on sustainability and trade insurance as a catalyst for economic development. In this episode, we put the spotlight on education and how we can ensure a future for youth participation. I'm joined by Mugove Nyimo, Regional Executive for Sanlam Alliance. Mugove, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. You and I are going to pivot slightly. We're looking at B20, but we're probably going to hone in a little bit more on the outcomes that we want to see and the impact we want to see in our environment. But let's begin with the intention that you believe, or some of the key intentions that you believe are critical for Sanlam Alliance as part of the B20 conversations.
Thank you very much. So as Sanlam Alliance, we are quite supportive and have been actively involved in the B20 conversations, an important forum. And we really believe that some of the outcomes that will come in will be quite tangible. This is also shown by the recent the Sanlam ESG barometer, in which we did a report on the impact of how these reports are going to come in from a sustainability perspective. And a key aspect for us is, if you think about education that you just mentioned now, is access. So how best are we going to make sure that there's access for education for the broader people within the continent?
You know, Mugove, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to piece together Sanlam Alliance's value proposition and strategy, but yet you keep such a close eye on ESG, on B20, on the things that are happening on a broader scale. You know, why do you see yourself needing to be an economic player that's not just providing insurance, but one that's also influencing the trajectory and the health of South Africa or the continent and the continent's youth?
So Sanlam Alliance, just to take you back, is a joint venture between Alliance, which is the largest insurer in the world, and Sanlam, which is the largest insurer on the continent. And we are in 26 markets, if you exclude South Africa. And that's quite significant. We touch over 30 million lives. And our reach in all of those markets, we are in most of those markets in the top 3. So this is quite significant for us. And if you think about insurance in itself, whether that's life, general, or investments, it's really about continuity, and our purpose and our values are aligned to that. So when we think about the continent and some of its challenges and some of its issues, because we are so systemic to the continent, this is quite powerful and important for us as an opportunity for us to make a difference.
So now let's take a look at the youth. What are the skills that you think you are needing to contribute to? From a Sanlam Alliance perspective, the youth of the continent, the youth of South Africa, what are the skills that you believe need the most investment?
So if we look at the world that we're in terms of AI, the whole digital conversation or digital literacy is quite fundamental. Let's take a look at the youth. So there are probably about 400 odd million people between the ages of 15 and 35 on the continent, and probably about 10 odd million enter the job space on an annual basis. So there are the skills that are required, whether those are, call it critical thinking, data analysis. Those skills are becoming quite important. But what we've also realized is, as we engage with all our stakeholders on the continent, that the soft skills also matter. So the soft skills as it relates to collaboration, resilience, those skills that really try and make a difference. Let me give you an example of some of the things that we've done on the continent itself. So if I take across all our entities, they're the normal education support that we do, or skills that we do. So that is the scholarships that we offer students across all the areas that we operate in, and also the digital academies and other areas that we provide for getting, call it the youth ready for the work. But then there's some other exciting things. So take Botswana, for example. We've partnered with Tshwaragano Primary School, where we've given students the opportunity to acquire skills and knowledge on conservation of the environment. So that is through the Children in the Wilderness program, which is run by Mokolodi Nature Reserve. So this is something, as you can imagine, climate and the impact of climate change is quite close to our business as an insurer. So that's an example of where we're going with skills, trying to empower the youth as they engage themselves. Another example is in Morocco, where we have a girl student program where we support girls' boarding schools, and that's on the fight of the dropout rates in the isolated areas, another area which we think is important from a skills perspective. And in Kenya, we actually support children, so over 113 that live with special needs and disabilities. And the benefit there is we're now focusing on occupational therapy to improve their social skills. Again, going back to the soft skills of things that we need to do. And I think coming back to Southern Africa, I mean, another practical example is in Namibia, where we've got interns that end up getting progressing to have specific jobs and permanent roles in an environment where we adapt them so that they can be able to manage the skills. So what we're saying is there is the broader technical skills that we expect from an insurer perspective, but we are also quite clear that in the advent of AI, in the advent of all of the digital aspects that are out there, we need to bridge the gap as a business. And it's our role, we think, given our purpose and our values, to support that.
And what a huge task, because you're speaking to a fundamental change in what youth need to be educated on, and those are the digital skills, the data mining skills, the programming skills, and then very strong soft skills, and they're no longer soft because they are so required, because AI cannot duplicate those human thinking, intuition, and rational thought. But then this youth also have to become employable. So as they go about their studies, as they go into university, employability still becomes a challenge. Have you thought of bridging that gap in any way?
That's a brilliant observation. So we all need to really rethink education and training just to see how best we get our youth employable. So we do look at it. There are some areas that we do invest in, initiatives to blend the technical training also with the personal training so that they're able to be employable. Specific examples that we also look at in this basis is where we have examples of call it bridge initiatives or bridge programs. Again, I'll highlight two countries where we've managed to do this. So in Cote d'Ivoire and also in Namibia, which I've also referenced earlier on, where we've got solutions that are dedicated to provide seed capital for entrepreneurs, because we realize that the path is not different. Another key example that we do is, again, to employable, is we partner with universities, and this will interest you, Zanele, that we co-create the curriculum now, as opposed to giving them standard curriculum that when they get into the world of work, it's completely different from what they have experienced at university. So we bridge that gap, given what we know now in the working world from a financial services perspective, so that the future curriculum is actually fit for purpose. And we're finding that universities are quite responsive to these conversations, because they also want to make sure that in their own alumni, they're able to say that we managed to place so many people in the working environment. So it's a win-win situation for all our stakeholders involved.
So you've got quite a number of initiatives, a lot of them different in every country. I think that does tell me that you're responding to what comes to you or what feels natural to do in those markets. But when you collectively pull all these initiatives together, how would you want to see, or what are the markers that bring all of these efforts together, and is something that Allianz, Sanlam Allianz wants to bring up and say, this is what we were meant to be doing?
I think the opportunity of the B20 summit, as you highlighted earlier, under the presidency of South Africa, is really a key milestone for that. And we've got a lot of our leaders involved in these particular milestones, and also some of the task forces that are there. And we realize that a key takeout out of that is the public and private collaboration that might come out of all of these processes. Again, I want to reference the concept of access. We believe at the end of all of these initiatives, if we're able to make sure that learners are able to access more learning platforms, investments go into that, I think that's an important win. If we see that there is more in digital teacher training, so teachers can get to more people, so access another win for us. And also that in the rural communities where access is a challenge and they're not left behind and access then comes into it. That's also another key point. So I think just to bring it all together, we do believe that as we actively engage with the relevant global stakeholders at the B20 to help shape policies across on the continent, we'll be able to at least see that we've a lot of initiatives have come out from a tangible perspective, and I think analyzing how these proposals transition from recommendations into adoption, as we've seen in our special impact report in the D20 policy, that's a good win for us.
And have you had the opportunity, I think B20 gives everybody the opportunity to contribute. What came out of the collective minds in those rooms have given further insight than what any one entity would have gained had they worked alone. For you, have there been any aha moments or aha insights where you thought, now this is a sharper way of thinking about our role as Sanlam Alliance?
No, I think so. I think it's quite over the last few months observing what has been happening across the B20 and some of our leaders who are involved in the task force. As you get into that granular aspect of the intent, this is what we want to do. The collective voice of the continent, that's quite exciting. We had an event that was organized in partnership with DECO a few weeks ago, and to see the different ambassadors from the different countries sitting in there, all providing their collective voice of what is going to come through from the B20 was quite exciting. And also, if you then think about what can you learn from the other previous presidencies? So you create certain aspects, but as a continent, again, some of our areas of access and scale, there are also areas that would have been privileged in the previous one, whether that's in Brazil or in Indonesia. How best do you then accelerate these programs? So in my mind, I think it's one of those where it's a great start. And if you take all the collaboration that you've seen, put it into action, and you're able to end up with concrete actions and programs that can actually be adopted as part of the G20, that would be an exciting outcome.
It really has been. I think it's exceeded my own expectations, being part of the process and being part of everybody who is having these conversations. But thank you so much, Mugave, for leaning into it and just shedding more light as to how this inspires even Sanlam Alliance into the future. And that was Mugave Nyimo, the Regional Executive for Sanlam Alliance. Thank you so much. It's where we have to leave the conversation for today. And I want to thank my guest, Mugave Nyimo, Regional Executive, Sanlam Alliance, for joining me. To our viewers, do tune in again as we close off this particular 4-part episode, dissecting financial services and how best to align Africa's financial inclusion strategy with the B20 goals. Until next time, I'm Zanele Morrison, and from me and the team at CNBC Africa, it's goodbye for now.